Hey you. Okay, so I was thinking about you since our last session, and here's what came to me that you can kind of do based on what some things you said in the last session. Here's what I'm thinking. What my coach does this thing that she says, like summarize it for me in one sentence. What's the title of your book? And I love to think about that, like to use that as a trick to kind of get to the heart of the problem or the issue, but not even sometimes it's not an issue or a problem. But if I ask myself, how would I summarize my work in one sentence? Like, what would be the title of the book if I was to write about my life at work? Or what would be the one sentence or the title of the book if I was to write a book about me and my relationship with my husband? Or me and my relationship with my parents? Or me and my health or fitness, right? What would that sentence be? Because whatever the first sentence, whatever that sentence is that comes to you, your is your title of that, let's say, your work, right? So the thing is now if we're related to science experiments, and you know how in the science experiment we have a hypothesis and then we're trying to prove it, that whether it's true or it's not true, right, by doing an experiment. Now this, in your life, when you have that sentence, your title of your book or whatever, or your work or anything else, that is your hypothesis. But the thing is, that hypothesis always turns out to be true in your result line in your life. So it's not like a science experiment. It will always show up as the truth in your result in your life. For example, I was just taking a walk, and my brain wants to keep telling me that my title of my work is that I'm not doing enough. Okay? So if I believe that I'm not doing enough, I will feel guilty, and from that feeling of guilty, I will not, or just not feeling good about me, myself at work, I will not show up to my clients, to my people in my best way, in my most open, most contribution way, right? I will show up maybe forced. I will not bring to life great ideas that will help my clients. I will be kind of like withdrawn and just like feeling shitty about myself. So then that my action of that will actually prove that I actually am not doing enough, because what I'm doing is not enough to show up in the best way that I can at work, right? Do you follow me? So my action will be literally not putting my best self forward, so that's not enough. So if that's the title of my story about my work, then first of all, like if I'm aware of it, then I can do something about it, right? And so if I'm taking a walk, right, for my self-care, for my body, for my sanity, and my brain's telling me I'm not doing enough at work, I actually can decide to answer my own brain and say, this is the most important work that I'm doing right now, is taking care of me so that I can show up in my best way possible for my people. And because I did that, I had all these ideas come to me during the walk of you and all the other people in my business. And it was just like a firework of ideas where I like had to like come here to my car and record this for you, because I'm like, okay, she has to hear this, right? So do you see that? Okay, first of all, awareness, right? And second of all, we can do something about it, and then we can actually create our result, our life, with that awareness from that title. And I want you to also think about the titles in your life that are amazing. You're like, I don't know what that could be. Like for me and my husband, I have always had an amazing kind of title for our book, is just like, we're good, something that's like whatever the first thing you would say to someone. It's like, yeah, we're good, we're really good, or we're solid, or we always work things out, or whatever that is, right? That would be your kind of hypothesis, or your like a verdict, and then that would always show up in your life as the result that you have. Okay, so super, super powerful trick. I love how that just brings it to the heart of your life. So I want you to think about that for you. And if you find that you're thinking, well, I'm just stating facts here, I want you to think of it as not a fact, but as a sentence, an optional sentence, right? Because if you say like things like, oh, well, things are okay, right? Like you think you're just stating the facts of your work, of how things are going, considering you are not, right? Because someone without a job looking at you who has a paid job might look at you and say, things are amazing in her life. She has a job that pays, right? So that's an available title sentence that you could have for your job, right? So, but before, of course, we get to the, oh my gosh, things are amazing, we need to take little baby steps to get there. For example, if you want to go from it's okay to it's amazing, you can say, instead of saying it's okay, you can say, I have a job that pays, right? So that would be a lot more factual, a lot more neutral. But as you stated as a fact, you might be blown away like, oh shit, I kind of do. Things are not so bad, right? So instead of saying things are okay, yeah, kind of like they could be better, everything's changed and the pandemic and and no prospects, and then you go on and on and on, right? Oh, the other example I wanted to give you is I had a girlfriend who, whenever I would meet her and I would ask her about anything, she would say, oh, things are so good, so good. And then she would tell me all the things that were so good, like things that she's done or planned or bought or scheduled or things that the kids were going through. And I remember being triggered by it. I'm like, damn it, why are things always so good for her? And then now I know that this is just the lens that she was looking through. Things are so good. And then her brain just went to prove how things are so good. I have another girlfriend who's always says like, oh, I got the best deal on this. Like, we got like this amazing deal on this amazing thing, and that is just one of her little titles of part of her life, not the whole life, right? But like, and whenever she says that, then her brain has all this evidence that it created to support that title, and so she walks around believing that that's true. And it is true. That's the truth of her life. I'm not saying it's not true. It's totally true. That is the truth that she's experiencing in her life. So don't beat yourself up if you have titles that don't serve you. We all do. We all do. I do. One of my titles is I complain too much. And then I go on about complaining about how much I complain, right? Totally fine. Or I love drama. And then I'm like, oh, I'm not supposed to love drama. But wait a minute. My job is to deal with people's drama. So all of these things are super interesting, fascinating to study and observe in our brains. And really would be super fun is for you to write down all the titles for all your different parts of your life, like health, kids, family, family, job, future, past, parents, holidays, vacations. Like, what would be all the titles of all the different sub-books or like chapters you would write about your life? And notice how they all feel true to you. You're like, well, that's just how things are. But that's how you create them. That's how those titles generate a feeling. And from that feeling, you show up in a way that creates that reality for you. Okay? So as you go on living between our sessions, I want you to notice your titles and bring them to me to talk about if you want to talk about any one specific one. Okay? See you later. Bye.